Morgan Mo's a good signing. That's a need. Does it bother you at all? Because I've seen people say this, and I kind of go back and forth on it. Left tackle is left tackle, right? Right tackle was a need. Does it bother you they filled the right side while the left side wasn't filled? Because I know people will bring it up, Morgan Moses is a right tackle, period, full stop. The answer is not, well, Morgan Moses is good, let's move him to left. He's played over 9,000 snaps in his career. About 300 of those have been at left tackle, and those were all in half of them were his rookie year when they needed him to play over there, and the other half were during the COVID year when it was everybody was playing everywhere because you lost half your roster the day before the game like that. It was a ridiculous season. So he's a right tackle, period, full stop. Does it feel weird to you that they filled the right side while the left side remains unfilled? As we record this, Cam Robinson's still a free agent, so maybe that changes, but
well, to answer your question on the tackles, I look at them as sort of separate. Like, I don't look at Morgan Moses and say that bugs me because they filled right tackle and they still need the left tackle. They needed both spots regardless. So I'm not looking at it like, well, I wish they got the left tackle and didn't fill the right tackle. I wanted them to get both. I needed them to at least find some kind of answer at both spots. And yes, they have an answer. They have a plan at right tackle. Left tackle, obviously still a huge work in progress. They got plenty of work to do there, whether it's free agency or the draft. And I think either way, like, I'm happy with what they did at right tackle. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't really affect what they haven't done at left tackle, the fact that they filled the right tackle spot because they needed both spots. And left tackle, look, Cam Robinson's still out there. Doesn't feel like he's going to be the guy getting that big, lucrative, long-term deal at this point because he didn't get it in that first week of free agency. So maybe he's a guy that's going to get that 1 year prove-it deal, a short-term deal, maybe a 2-year deal. I'm still palatable to that, Barth. And I know, people look at Cam Robinson, they look at the numbers last year. He had a bad playoff game for the Vikings. He was traded midseason. There's issues there. And so people say, is he really better than Vidarian Lowe? Well, here's how I look at it, Barth. Cam Robinson and Vidarian Lowe is better than Vidarian Lowe, and God help us who's going in there if Vidarian Lowe can't play. You need at least a body there. And so I'm not saying it has to be Cam Robinson, but DJ Humphries is still out there. Tyron Smith is still out there. Jedrick Wills is an interesting one because it seems like he has sort of off-field concerns there. He doesn't seem like a culture fit.
And he was in Cleveland last year with Vrabel, so Vrabel would know as well as anybody.
Exactly. And Joseph Noteboom was on the Rams. He's been more of a right tackle lately, but he's played left tackle before. Garon Christian is a guy who's played left tackle, but he's really bounced around the league. So it's I'm not saying any of these guys are going to change the offense, but you do need a body. Get at the very least, try to get a Morgan Moses for the left side. Get that veteran sort of stopgap. Yeah. And then you can draft a left tackle, whether it's Will Campbell or whether it's someone on day 2. You can maybe get your Caden Wallace type developmental guy to develop at left tackle, and you don't have to throw him in there right away because you brought in the veteran left tackle. I think they still have options out there, and none of them are perfect, but it's better than what you have right now, which is virtually nothing.
So I think Cam Robinson is a step above those guys you just named. He's not great. He's a 1-year stopgap. I wouldn't give him a long-term deal, but I look at last year, he was playing okay for the Jags before he got traded. And mid-season trade, have to learn a new offense, different system, all of that. I'm allowing myself to kind of write off some of the struggles with Minnesota. I think if Cam Robinson comes in, I was talking to Felger about this the other day in the hall, which he apparently doesn't remember and doesn't believe happened.
Felger doesn't remember what happened 5 minutes ago.
Cam Robinson, Felger used the term lowercase s suck. As far as starting tackles go, Cam Robinson is not a great starting tackle, but he is a starting caliber tackle. If I were to list the true starting caliber left tackles in the NFL, I would put Cam Robinson on that list. He'd be very near the bottom, but he would be on that list.
And Vidarian Lowe is not on that list.
Right. Vidarian Lowe is not a guy I would put on that list. The other guys you named, I don't know how many of them I'd put on that list, if any. To me,
they're all borderline. I get it.
Right. Yep. To me, those guys are coming in to compete with Vidarian Lowe. Now, to your point, which I agree with 100%, I would rather have somebody here competing with Vidarian Lowe. Ideally, it would be a veteran and a rookie, and you'd have 3 people, right? I would rather have that than just running it back with Vidarian Lowe, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to me, Cam Robinson is half a step above that. But at this point, the fact he's unsigned and it's such a clear need for them makes me think he's not going to be in the cards. So maybe what you laid out is what's happening in any of those names. Joe Noteboom, I remember he has a ton of versatility. So he's a guy, if I had to go to that list, I'd probably go with him because if he doesn't beat out Vidarian Lowe or if things happen, like he still may help you elsewhere. He may be able to help you elsewhere beyond left tackle. There's value in that.
Sure.
We also need to bring back the Will Campbell of it all. I am not, I've said this. I whether or not I consider him a tackle, I do still think there's an outside shot he can play tackle. It's an outside shot. Am I comfortable taking that shot at 4? Probably not. But if I'm just going to put my prediction hat on, and this is just guessing what they will do, regardless of what I think or I want them to do, I don't think the door is shut for Will Campbell at 4 to be their left tackle. Now, there has been this kind of undercurrent. If you're really in the draft weeds, you've noticed this. But I did manage to bring it up on Zolak and Bertrand and Felgren Maz the last 2 weeks.
Is this what you were telling me off the air?
Yeah. So basically, this is where it gets really dense. The measurements at the Senior Bowl and Shrine Bowl, which are the all-star games at the end of January, players who measured in there measured in bigger almost across the board than they did at the combine. Just about every tackle, their arm length was 1/4 to 1/2 inch longer at the Senior or Shrine Bowl than it was at the combine. The one exception, for whatever reason, is Armand Membu, who measured in longer at the combine. I don't know what the hell is going on with that, but like Will Campbell didn't go to either of the showcase games because top 10 picks usually don't do that. Maybe Will Campbell's 32 7/8. Maybe he's 33 flat. If the combine measurements were Fugazi, right? He'll have his senior day next week. He'll measure in there. So maybe we get a little more info, whether we do or not. Like, are you seeing how this is all played out? Is the door back open for you for Will Campbell at 4 as a left tackle?
Well, this is great, Barth, because what's better than getting in the weeds on combine measurements? Getting in the weeds on combine measurement controversy. We have a controversy with
measurement controversy.
Do they just not know how to read a ruler? Would be my question. Are they misreading the? You know how like a little plastic ruler has the little margin on the end,
right?
And the measure. Are they misusing the measurement? That would be my question. Like, you know, that 1/4 inch can mean a lot in NFL measurements.
That I have no idea. I don't think the league has said anything about it. I like Beatles' point. I don't need to watch the lineman run the 40. I'll believe you on the 40. Show me the arm measurement.
Yeah, I think it was one of them bring out like the chains. Like, bring out the chain measurement for the arm.
So whether you think he might have longer arms, whether you think
33,
whether you think his measurement was correct, are you more open seeing what is left? Ronnie Stanley goes back to Baltimore, and you know Jalen Smith, right, the backup tackle for the Niners, gets like $12 million a year, whatever it was. Are you more open to the idea now of Will Campbell at 4 as the Patriots left tackle?
I'm more open to it if you can sort of sell me on the 33-inch thing. Like if there's a reasonable theory out there. It sounds like we're theorizing, but based on these discrepancies in the measurements,
I mean, it's not a theory. The measures are listed differently.
Okay.
So
but
as to why
Will,
we don't know.
With Will Campbell, it's a theory because he only has the combine.
Yes, we don't have any yet. So, we don't have anything compared to yet. We might have to do like an emergency podcast next Wednesday after his pro day.
So in theory, Will Campbell could be 32 7/8, could be just over 33, 33 1/8, 33 even.
Over, you might be asking for a little too much.
Okay.
At might be in the ballpark.
32 7/8. Like, look, I know I've said I have to stick to my guns on the arm length thing.
Yeah.
Like if he's under 33, I don't feel good about him playing left tackle. And look, the Patriots, like they know more about football than I ever will, and they apparently feel that he's a tackle no matter what. They didn't even need to see the arm length.
Well, remember that report came out before the measurement.
That's what I'm worth. But that's the report was they don't even need to see the arm length. We think
I think the exact phrasing was arm length be damned.
Arm length be damned. To hell with the arm length. That's what they said. And there's the wingspan too, so I don't know if there's a discrepancy with the wingspan. But yeah,
like the wingspan's like historically short. Yeah.
Look,
but that's another one where it wasn't just arm length at the combine. Jalen Milroe's hands, I think, measured in like 1.25 inches bigger at the combine than they did at the Senior Bowl. So everything was a little off.
So I mean, look, I'd be less nervous about it if we can buy into this theory that he could be around 33 inches. And they wanted to be the left tackle. They believe in him. They have Doug Marrone. They have all that. And look, he does have great size. He's athletic. Seems like he's got a great, football character, all those things. Like he's got it's more than just the arm length with Will Campbell.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the arm length, he's clearly the pick at 4, and I don't think we're discussing it.
Exactly. Like if the quarterbacks weren't even a consideration, like he could be the number 3 pick in the draft. Right.
Honestly, yeah. If it wasn't for the arm length, we'd probably be worried about him falling to 4. That's a better way to put it.
Right. So like, yeah, maybe I'm overreacting to the over like, you know, 1/8 of an inch at arm length. And like, he's got this whole package where he is going to sort of change the standard when it comes to tackle arm length. So yes, I'd be less scared. But I don't know. I feel like I'm in like the denial stage where like, I'm going to have to get to the acceptance stage. I might have to just accept that Will Campbell's going to be their guy. And we just have to hope for the best.
I'm telling you, I'm not ruling that out. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not ruling it out as a possibility. That's just me guessing. But just something tells me that he checks all the character boxes for Vrabel and this what they're building. Like personality-wise, he fits in seamlessly with what they're building. He plays a premium position. He plays a position of need. It just makes sense. It just makes it's 1 + 1 = 2, right? If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it might be a left tackle. So I think that's kind of where we're at there.